And good evening, everyone. This is Serge Dean, the Mayor of Imperial Beach. Welcome to the December 9th meeting of the Imperial Beach City Council. And I'd like to call the meeting to order. And council members and staff, please mute yourselves. And when speaking at the appropriate time, please announce your name. This is going to be a very complicated meeting, the first ever meeting like this done virtually in the history of Imperial Beach, but lots of firsts this year. So I want to thank everybody for their patience, especially our new council members elect who will be joining us this evening. And I want to thank everybody for their patience as we join this regular meeting on December. We're continuing the meeting from December 2nd, 2020. And this meeting must comply with Executive Order N29-20 and all their provisions of state law. And now the city clerk will announce the very important public comment period process.
This is City Clerk Kelly. Members of the public are encouraged to submit their comments for any item on the agenda now via email to comments@imperialbeachca.gov, as no breaks will occur between agenda items. Please note in the subject line the item on the agenda that you wish to comment on. Specify if you would like your comment to be read aloud or just to be entered into the record. Written comments will be read by me or staff for only up to 3 minutes. Public comments will be accepted until the mayor announces that public comment for that item is closed. For providing oral comments during this meeting, join Zoom via desktop computer, cell phone app, or telephone. The meeting details are located on the first page of the agenda. Members of the public will not be shown on video. You will be able to speak when called upon. When it is the appropriate time, use the raise hand feature located in the participants option button. And the feature on the desk phone or phone app, or if you are calling in, press *9 on your telephone. Public comments will be limited to 3 minutes so that business can be efficiently completed. Public comments on non-agendized items will be taken after item 4, and item 4 is the oath of office. So again, members of the public who want to speak on non-agendized items, those public comments will be taken after the oath of office. And the mayor will accept, we will accept public comments until the mayor announces that public comment for that item is closed. Thank you.
Thank you so much, City Clerk Kelly. And now, City Clerk Kelly, please take the roll.
Sure. Councilmember Patton?
Patton here.
Councilmember West?
West here.
Councilmember Spriggs?
Spriggs here.
Mayor Pro Tem Aguirre?
Aguirre here.
And Mayor Dedina?
Dedina present. Great. Thank you so much, everyone. And now we'll go with the Pledge of Allegiance. And I'd like to invite Councilmember West to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
All right, everybody, put your hand over your heart. Repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Councilmember West. And now we have council updates and reports, starting with Councilmember Patton.
It's been a great week. Nothing to report at this time. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And now we have Councilmember West.
Great week. I agree, Councilmember Patton. The one thing I wanted to update is last week I briefed you about San Diego Community Power and the ERA forecast that the SDG&E was using, and the CPUC actually ruled in favor of the San Diego Community Power. So great news. Means that SDG&E is going to have to recalculate that forecast. So good news. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Spriggs.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The only thing I have to report really is the progress we've made that I mentioned at our last meeting a week ago. We're in a 2-week process of the League of California Cities working out priorities, and I'm happy to say that the priorities that I had hoped for are pretty much in the top 4 that will go to the board on Friday and are likely to be adopted, maybe with minor wording change. They are, I'll just state them quickly because we won't meet again until this is a done deal later next month. Secure state and federal funding for local COVID-19 public health response and economic recovery for all. That's one priority. Another one is secure funding to increase the supply of affordability of housing and resources to assist individuals experiencing homelessness while preserving local decision making. The third priority is the one that I fought for, which is improve state-local coordination and planning to strengthen community disaster preparedness, resiliency, and recovery, particularly to pursue additional resources and support to mitigate the effects of climate change, sea level rise, catastrophic wildfires, and flooding in our communities. So we have our coastal issues embedded in that one. And the fourth priority, not in order of priority, but just the fourth, is protect and modernize critical infrastructure. So I'm happy with these so far. The league only does 3 or 4 priorities for its legislative efforts a year, but it has a number of standing policies that address other areas as well. So with that, I'll turn it over to the next council member. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Aguirre.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Nothing to report. More so like my food.
Councilmember Aguirre,
City,
Councilmember Aguirre, your
Murphy's
audio.
Produce with a purpose, and iron workers.
Councilmember Aguirre, you're breaking up.
You can't hear me, okay?
Yeah, maybe turn off your video and then repeat.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I apologize. My internet's been spotty. Just a reminder about the food drive on December 19th at the sports park. It will start at 9 and at noon. It's a first come, first serve basis. We will be observing all COVID safety guidelines. It will be a drive-through format. So please help spread the word for families in need. December 19th, 9 to 12. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks, everyone. Last Friday, we had the meeting of the Sandiag board. The discussion was, and the nomination, and then we nominated and elected a new chair, Councilor Blake Sphere and Mayor Benciditas, who's been a big leader on coastal issues as well as the issue of trash on the highways, which is good, and very supportive of water quality efforts. Mayor-elect Todd Gloria, will be sworn in as mayor tomorrow, will be the vice chair, and it looks like, I'm sorry, they actually have that discussion of vice chair for next year. So sorry, I'll just end there. And then yesterday I met virtually with the Military Officers Association of America, their Silver Strand chapter, of which Councilmember West is an esteemed member. That was a good discussion on water quality, very engaged group of high-level officers serving at all levels, branches in the military, and very interested in continuing to help out on water quality issues and writing letters, very advocacy-oriented, policy-oriented organization, so appreciated that. And then tomorrow we'll be meeting with high-level officials from the EPA to talk once again about the need to have infrastructure built in the United States to spend the $300 million to stop the flows of sewage. So with that, I will turn it over to item number 1. And just everyone, want to make sure we're all really patient. And we have a lot of things going on this evening, very different types of things that are complicated enough, and we're all in person. But we've got folks being sworn in. We're talking about general election results. We're saying goodbye to council members. So I just we're all going to go with the flow. And thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Aguirre, for your patience and turning off the audio, video. And the most important thing is we're going to deal with the election results. We're going to swear in new council members, say goodbye to our colleagues. And if we have to slow it down a little bit to make sure we're all following the process virtually, we'll do that. And if you have any issues or whatever, let us know. We can't hear, we can't see you, whatever. We want to make sure we get this right for the people that are doing all kinds of important things this evening, including the public as well. And so with that, item number 1 is the November 3rd, 2020 general municipal election results and consideration of resolution number 2020-124, reciting the fact of the general municipal election held on November 3rd, 2020, declaring the result and other such matters as provided by law, and City Clerk Kelly will give the report on the item. Thank you, City Clerk Kelly.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. This is City Clerk Kelly. A general municipal election was held and conducted in the city of Imperial Beach on Tuesday, November 3rd, 2020, as required by law. Pursuant to Resolution Number 2020-55, the Registrar of Voters of the County of San Diego consolidated the general municipal election, the statewide election, canvassed the returns of the election, and has certified the results to this City Council. The results are received, attached, and made a part of Resolution Number 2020-124 as Exhibit A. Both the revised resolution and Exhibit A were submitted as last-minute information. As the elections official, I am entering the statement of the result of the November 3rd, 2020 election on the city's records as shown in Resolution Number 2020-124, which includes all the requirements of Elections Code 10264. Next slide. John Jack Fisher was elected as member of the City Council for District 2 for the full term of 4 years. Matthew Leyba Gonzalez was elected as member of the City Council for District 4 for the full term of 4 years, or of District 4 for the full term of 4 years, and a majority of the voters voting on Measure I voted in favor of it, and that the measure was carried and shall be deemed adopted and ratified. Next slide. Staff's recommendation is for City Council to adopt revised resolution number 2020-124, reciting the fact of the general municipal election held on November 3rd, 2020, declaring the result and such other matters as provided by law. And following the adoption of the resolution, as the mayor said, we will be considering the ordinance 2020-119, which is Measure I. Then there will be a farewell of Council Members Patton and West, and then the ceremonial oaths for Council Members-elect Fisher and Leyba Gonzalez with certificates of elections issued to them as soon as possible. And Mayor, that is the end of my presentation.
Thank you so much, City Clerk Kelly. Do we have any public comment?
For members of the public who wish to comment on the results of the election, please use the *9 if you're calling, or raise hand feature. Okay, seeing none, let me check email. And no, there are no written comments, Mr. Mayor.
And just so I'm clear, City Clerk Kelly, we're starting the discussion starting with our new council members. Is that correct?
No, this is the current council members.
Okay, I'm sorry, the script is wrong here. So anyway.
Sorry about that.
So any City Council discussion beginning with Mr. Patton? Is there any City Council discussion at all?
No discussion from Patton.
Okay. Mr. West, Councilmember Spriggs, or Councilmember Aguirre?
None for me. I move for motion to approve.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second Spriggs.
Great, okay. Then I'd like to, thank you. I'd like to entertain to adopt resolution number 2020, reciting the fact of the general municipal election held on November 3rd, 2020, declaring the result and such other matters as provided by law. Sounds like we have a first and a second.
Yes, this is City Clerk Kelly. I will now take an oral roll call vote. There has been a motion by West, second by Spriggs, to adopt resolution number 2020-124. Councilmember Patton, how do you vote? Councilmember Patton? I'll move to the next person. Councilmember West, how do you vote?
West, aye.
Councilmember Spriggs, how do you vote?
Spriggs, aye.
Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem Aguirre, how do you vote?
Aguirre, aye.
Mayor Dedina, how do you vote?
Dedina, aye.
And Councilmember Patton?
Aye.
Great. Motion carried unanimously.
Great. And now we have the next item. Oh, I have to read the title of the ordinance. Okay. I'm sorry, City Clerk Kelly, do you read the title of the ordinance?
I do.
Yeah, okay, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so I will go ahead and give the report for item number 2, which is for ordinance number 2020-119. As shown in the statement of election results adopted by City Council in Resolution number 2020-124, the voters in Imperial Beach approved ordinance number 2020-1199. Pursuant to Elections Code Section 9217, the ordinance is considered adopted upon the date that the November 3rd, 2020 election vote is declared by the City Council, and the votes show that a majority approved the measure. The ordinance then takes effect 10 days after it is adopted. Staff recommends that the City Council conduct the second reading and adoption of ordinance number 2020-119 pursuant to the City Council's previous action to approve a resolution which certified and declared the results of the voters of Imperial Beach at the November 3rd, 2020 election. And that's the end of my report, Mr. Mayor.
So just to be clear now, I'm going to entertain a motion to approve that. Is that correct?
I believe we have, we need to check for public comments.
Oh, right. Okay. Sorry, my script is off here. So anyway, are there any public comments?
For those of you participating on Zoom, please raise your hand if you'd like to comment on this ordinance, or press *9 if you're calling in. And on email, I don't see any, but someone as a panelist has raised their hand.
Chairman Cox.
Oh, it's Chairman Cox. Okay.
Mr. West, your comment?
No, I was just saying it was Chairman Cox who had his hand up.
Oh, okay.
But that's for later.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Greg, you might want to mute yourself, I think. I'm not sure if you're muted or not. There you go. Thanks.
I am.
Yep. Okay. Well, then, if there's no public comment, I'd like to close the public comment period. And I'd like to entertain a motion to conduct the second reading adoption of ordinance number 2020-1199, pursuant to the City Council's previous action to approve a resolution which certified and declared the results of the voters of Imperial Beach the November 3rd, 2020 election. Is there a first or a motion?
Patton, motion.
West second.
Great. Thank you. And with that, City Clerk Kelly will take an oral roll call vote.
Mr. Mayor, before I take the vote, I'm going to read the title if you don't mind. Okay. Ordinance number 2020-1199 is an ordinance of the City of Imperial Beach, California, adding a new chapter 3.34 to Title 3 of the Imperial Beach Municipal Code for the purpose of establishing and imposing a general transactions and use tax for emergency response and vital municipal services to be administered by the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration. And with that, I will now take an oral roll call vote. There has been a motion by Patton, second by West, to conduct the second reading and adopt ordinance number 2020-1119. Councilmember Patton, how do you vote?
Patton, aye.
I'm sorry, 1199. I misspoke. Okay, Councilmember West, how do you vote?
West aye.
Councilmember Spriggs, how do you vote?
Briggs, aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Aguirre, how do you vote?
Aguirre, aye.
And Mayor Dedina, how do you vote?
Dedina, aye.
Motion carried unanimously.
Great. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate historic election in Imperial Beach, and really elated about the broad support for that measure. And now we have the sad part of the evening, and that's the leaving office presentation. And just to make sure we have lots of things going on. So the first part is we're accepting comments in recognition of council members Patton West. And I know that we have already some folks here. City Clerk Kelly, do you have any public comments? And I'll go to our speakers. I know we'll start off with Chairman Cox, Supervisor Cox.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciated being at your meeting a couple of weeks ago when you were giving some recognition to me, and I am just as excited to be here tonight to give some recognition to two of the members of your city council that I've enjoyed the opportunity to get to know over the last, 4 years with Councilman West and 8 years with Councilman Patton. I have some proclamations. Actually, I don't have them with me. I just have the paper copies, but I will guarantee you we will get the framed proclamations to both Councilman Patton and Councilman West. Obviously elections bring changes, and there's going to be new members of your city council. But I think we would be remiss if we didn't take the opportunity to thank Mark and Bobby for the tremendous job that they've done over the last few years for the city of Imperial Beach. I mean, I think I made the comment before. I think the city of Imperial Beach is the most undervalued community in San Diego County. And I think you have so much opportunity in the years ahead. I think you've made a lot of headway over the last 4 and 8 years with these council members. And on behalf of the county of San Diego, I just wanted to say how much I've enjoyed working with Bobby, not as much as with Bobby, but Councilman West and I have been on the Airport Authority Board together. We're both on the Bayshore Bikeway Working Group, and I know the issues that are important to Imperial Beach, and I know both Bobby and Mark have done an outstanding job in moving the ball and trying to get those issues addressed and just improving the community in so many different ways. It's for all of those reasons that these proclamations go through a lot of whereases. It talks about what they've done in the community. And maybe in the interest of time, I won't read both of them, but the bottom line on both of them is to recognize them and thank them for a job well done. They've done a tremendous job for the city, and we wanted to, on behalf of the County of San Diego, these proclamations are signed by all 5 members of the board. That doesn't always happen, but it was an easy one in this case. And we want to thank them for their commitment to the city of Imperial Beach and all the great projects that they've been pursuing. We've declared this 9th day of December 2020 to be Robert Patton Day for his outstanding service, leadership, and commitment to the county of San Diego and the residents thereof. And we're really proud of Robert Patton for the work that he's done. We have a similar proclamation, talks about different things that he's done, but for Mark West. And again, Mark, congratulations on a job well done over these last 4 years. It's been a pleasure to work with you in a couple of different roles and capacity. And we have declared this day also the 9th day of December 2020 to be Councilman Mark West Day throughout San Diego County. Thank you very much for your service. I wish you both the best in the future.
Thank you so much, Supervisor Cox. We appreciate it and appreciate you being here as well. And now we'd like to turn it over to Port Commissioner Dan Malcolm. Please, Dan's here.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. And it's really fitting that I go after Chairman Cox, somebody who I have known for a large part of my life. And I just want to say, Chairman, congratulations on your 24 years of service at the county, and a lot more than that at the city of Chula Vista, and our relationship dating all the way back to you being my high school guidance counselor. And really appreciate the friendship all these years, and what a great job, Greg. I want to echo your comments about Bobby and Mark and the incredible public service that they have provided to the city of Imperial Beach over their terms as council members. Guys, I have really valued the relationship with both of you and working with you on issues important to Imperial Beach. And a few things come to mind. Pond 20, we worked on modernizing and the new fencing and getting that looking good. And of course, the long-term project that is going to really benefit the environment of the South Bay, but also provide economic benefit to Imperial Beach. And both you guys were very supportive of that. Even more important is your leadership, along with the mayor and council, on the issue of the South Bay outfall, and Chairman Cox, you as well, on the pollution issue we've had there for decades and decades. And your leadership promulgating the initial lawsuit, working on solutions, where now I feel like we're on track to find a permanent solution to that problem. And you guys were a big part of that, and really stood up at a time when leadership was needed. You exhibited it, and the benefits will be your legacy to Imperial Beach and all the visitors, the tens of thousands of people that come to our beach every year and enjoy Imperial Beach. You guys have really given a lot of yourself. And I would say that from my standpoint, both as a member of the Port of San Diego, but also just as a member, citizen of Imperial Beach, I want to thank you both for everything you've done, the long hours and the time you've spent to make Imperial Beach better. Now, I also have proclamations. This is also Mark West and Bobby Patton Day at the Port of San Diego. And I have a bunch of whereases and wherefores as well. And in the interest of time, I'm not going to read that off now, but suffice to say, I look forward to seeing both of you and presenting you with those proclamations and giving you both a big hug for all the great work that you've done. And I just want to say, guys, as a sailor, what we like to say in the sailing world is I want to wish you both fair winds and following seas, and want to wish you the very, very best in your future, and look forward to good things from you both and seeing you both around town. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Malcolm. Appreciate that. And thanks for all your service. And I know that our colleagues really enjoyed working with you. And hopefully we'll continue to work with you. And now we have Jim Callahan, South County, the Executive Director of South County EDC. Jim, great to see you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate it. On behalf of the South County EDC, I'd really like to thank both council members. I unfortunately did not get to know Councilmember Patton as well as I did Councilmember West. But on behalf of our members and the business community and all of our partner cities in the South County, Imperial Beach has been an example of a city to follow and something that has really led the charge on bringing revitalization and redevelopment into the forefront successfully. So thank you for your leadership over the past 4 and 8 years on that matter. As the new guy in town, I don't know that I have the history of the past 2 speakers, but Councilmember West, I've yet to meet a council member in my years of service that has been more passionate about their community than you are. So thank you for bringing me into the fold. And we have 2 proclamations as well that we'll send off to you, so you have those. But on behalf of the businesses and our partner cities, thank you so much for your service, and we look forward to great things and partnerships in the future.
Thanks so much, Jim. I appreciate you being here. And I have a list. Is Hassan Ikrada from Sandag there?
Yes, sir, I am, Mayor.
Hassan, thank you so much for calling in.
Of course. Good evening, Mayor Dedina and City Council member. Thank you for giving me time this evening to thank 2 very important leaders in our region. Council member Robert Patton and Council member Mark West have been integral to our leadership at Sandag. Councilmember Patton served in multiple Sandag committees since 2013. He has been a member of the Sandag Board of Directors, the Sandag Shoreline Preservation Group, and the Sandag Bayshore Bikeway Working Group. During his time with the Shoreline Working Group, Sandag placed 1.5 million cubic yards of beach quality and on our regional beaches. Thank you, Councilmember Patton. Councilmember Mark West also serves on the Sandag Bayshore Bikeway Committee. He has been an alternate on the Sandag Board of Directors and the Executive Committee. Both council members have made significant contribution toward the completion of more than 70% of the Bayshore Bikeway, 17 of the 24 miles around the San Diego Bay to be exact. Under their leadership, the Bayshore Working Group also made progress on bikeway connection to the border Bayshore project, which will build more than 6 miles of bikeway in the cities of Imperial Beach and the city of San Diego. Gives me a great pleasure to present Sandag certificate of recognition, virtually of course, to both Councilmember Patton and West. We will be sure to send hard copies in the coming weeks. On behalf of the entire Sandag staff, I would like to thank you, gentlemen, for your service to our regional planning agency and to the San Diego region. And while you're not going to go far, you will be missed from your leadership positions. I appreciate you. I thank you on behalf of my team. And I hope to run into you, Councilmember Mark West, while walking in downtown San Diego again. Thank you, Mayor Medina, for allowing me to speak.
Thanks for being here, Hassan. We really appreciate it. And now I will turn it over to City Clerk Kelly to continue with the public comments and lists.
Yes, hello, Mr. Mayor. Assistant City Manager Cortez Martinez has some letters and proclamations she would like to read. Thank you.
Good evening, Assistant Manager Cortez. The first certificate of recognition comes from Juan Vargas' office. This is for Robert Bobby Patton. On behalf of the U.S. House of Representatives in California's 51st Congressional District, I would like to recognize you for your lifelong service to the community of Imperial Beach. Your dedication and light work for the residents of Imperial Beach has fostered lifelong improvements and enhancements to lives of those in your community. I wish you many years of continued success. Signed, Juan Vargas. The next one is also a certificate of recognition. This one's for Mark Brandon West. On behalf of the U.S. House of Representatives in California's 51st Congressional District, I would like to recognize you for your lifelong dedication to serving your community. The accumulation of your knowledge and leadership experience throughout service to our community has made an impact on Imperial Beach. Your work aiming to protect the oceans and beaches of Imperial Beach has contributed to the preservation of the community for years to come. I wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Signed, Juan Vargas. Final letter is from the Imperial Beach Chamber of Commerce. This is actually for addressed to leaving office and oath of office, combination both. To the City of Imperial Beach Mayor, City Manager, and Council, the Imperial Beach Chamber of Commerce would like to congratulate John Jack Fisher, District 2, and Matthew Leyva Gonzalez, District 4, in their new positions with the City Council. We look forward to visiting and hearing what can be done to forego a great relationship and open discussion with the Imperial Beach Chamber of Commerce. COVID-19 has been a devastating virus to the economy. Economic impact has been felt most in IB, with small businesses along Seacoast, Palm Avenue, IB Boulevard, and in between. The Chamber looks forward to meeting with both and getting your perspective on the needs on your districts and surrounded city as well. To outgoing City Council members Bobby Patton and Mark West, thank you for your service during your time on the City Council. Your contributions to the city will be remembered. The Chamber wishes you all the best as you take your leave as the City Council member. We will see you in the neighborhood. Sincerely, Valerie Aceves, President. Mr. Mayor, those are the last three comments. City Clerk Kelly has one more to read.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, we will have some participants participating orally, but I do have a couple of written comments. If I could start with those, please. The first one is
I'm sorry, you broke up. You're breaking up, City Clerk Kelly.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I will begin with the written comments first. The first comment is from Anna Webb. First two comments are from Anna Webb. And the first one says, "It's been my absolute pleasure to work with Councilmember West on the business subcommittee of the Mayor's Task Force on Coronavirus. He's a diligent leader and an inspiration and helped us help IB businesses stay afloat. Thank you, Mark, and all the best in your future endeavors." She then continues with a message to Councilmember Patton. And she says, "I appreciated Councilmember Patton's reports and his work on the Mayor's Task Force for Coronavirus. Thank you for your service and your dedication to our lovely city." Anna Webb. Okay, and now we will go to the public participants. And again, remember to use the raise hand feature under the participants button. And the first speaker will be former Council Member Maida Winter. Councilmember Winter, please unmute yourself and begin.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to address this to Councilmember Patton. Tonight, I'd like to just take a few minutes to thank you for your service to the city of Imperial Beach. I personally have known Bobby for almost 30 years and have always been impressed with the character, integrity, and commitment he pours into whatever he applies himself to. I said those exact words 8 years ago to a group of people when Bobby first decided to run for council, and they could not be any truer today as he leaves office. Bobby has embodied the very meaning of character, integrity, and commitment throughout his 8 years as a council member. The 6 traits of character: trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship. We as citizens have been honored to have Bobby serve our community with such character, and it should serve as a beacon for future council members to follow. Bobby's commitment to the people of Imperial Beach has never wavered, and he has held steadfast in his efforts to maintain our small town atmosphere while still making Imperial Beach a place our children can be proud to live in decades from now. And Bobby, you have done all of this with respect, collegiality, and at times a wonderfully adroit sense of humor. I thank you for your service, and you will be greatly missed. And to Councilmember West, thank you also for your service, and I wish you well in your future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, Bill Carnahan is here with San Diego Community Power.
Oh, right. Good. Thanks, Bill.
All right. Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here at my first attendance at one of your council meetings. I'm with the San Diego Community Power CCA. I'm the interim CEO, and I probably have known Mark the least amount of time of anyone here. I've been on the job about a month and a half, but I can tell you his reputation preceded him, and he certainly lived up to everything that I have been told about him. He's an effective leader, and he very, very much looks after your interests on our board of directors. You all know him as Council Member West. We know him as Board Member West, and in my presentation tonight's a little bit different because the board of directors will be recognizing him formally at the next board meeting. This presentation is really from the staff, including me and one of the other staff members who has worked with him for many, many years. He's been very instrumental in not only getting acceptance of our organization, but building it, being dedicated, always willing to go the extra mile for us. And I've been very, very impressed with his efforts. And we have a letter to present to him, and I'm going to ask our Chief Operating Officer, Cody Hooven, who has worked on behalf of SDCP for years actually, and has worked very close with Mark. And I thought it was appropriate for her to present it to you on behalf of the staff. So Mark, good luck to you. You're a real stand-up guy.
Mr. Mayor, we have 2 more speakers. The next one is former Mayor Diane Rose.
I'm sorry, Cody, were you giving? Oh, so Cody's not giving a presentation. I guess you are. Yeah. So go ahead, Cody.
Thank you I'll just take one more minute. I'm really just adding on to what Bill just said, and really wanted to thank Councilmember West for his service on the San Diego Community Power Board. I have this working thesis that people lead like they surf. And from what I hear from people that surf with Mark, including some of my own staff, that Mark is a very passionate and committed surfer, and he's, no hesitation. He gets things done. He gets out there, and he's really supportive of others and really cheers them on. And that has 100% been reflected in how he's led from the San Diego Community Power Board. He's been just fun to work with, and his enthusiasm and energy has really brought a lot to us, as well as his leadership. We are really going to miss having him on our board. I know we're in good hands with Mayor Dedina, but you were the first one from Imperial Beach, and we'll miss you. And we have a letter of recognition for you, and also our board will be adopting a resolution that we'll get to as well. And I know you're not going far, and we'll see you around, but sad to say goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cody. Appreciate it. And now I know, now we're moving on to former Mayor Diane Rose. Diane, please go ahead. Thank you.
Hi, thank you, Mayor Dedina and council members. First of all, I just wanted to give a big congratulations to our incoming council members. Thank you so much for stepping up to serve our community, and a huge congratulations to the passage of Measure I. And I just wanted to say, Andy Hall, you did a great job on the educational pieces you put out on that. Mark, thank you so much for the dedicated service that you provided to us for the last 4 years. And I wanted to relay a big shout out from Oregon, from your former backyard neighbors, the Kellys. But congratulations, and I know that you've got great things coming up in your future. Bobby, so Maida kind of stole some of the comments I was going to make about your character. I know there's a lot of the proclamations that weren't read aloud that would itemize all of the fantastic contributions that you've done over the past 8 years. But for me, it's really more about the exemplary commitment and character that you have brought to the city council. You are the one that is calm and composed. You are the one that's the voice of reason. And I know that one of the things that probably would be mentioned in all of those proclamations, it actually predated your service on the city council, was the shining star of the junior lifeguard program. So thank you so much for that. Bobby, you have always been just so caring. You treat everyone with respect. You've been so responsive to the needs and concerns of the community, and so generous with your time in addressing that. And I hope you know what an absolute asset you have been, not only to the city council, but to the city of Imperial Beach. You know, there's such strange times. We've had, this should be such a great celebration, and the Boy Scouts coming in and the Girl Scouts coming in, and the break for cake in the community room, and we're missing all of that because of COVID. But just, big hugs and love, and shout out to you, and best wishes to you and your family for the next chapter. And I know it's going to be a great one. So thank you so much, Bobby.
Thank you so much, former Mayor Rose. We really appreciate you calling in and your nice words. Thank you so much, and all your leadership for our community and our city. And City Clerk Kelly, additional comments? Comments.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we have one final comment, and it's from Jake Patton.
Hey there. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll be quick. I think everybody really hit the nail on the head. Well done to everyone tonight. Thank you so much for your words, whether it be to my dad or to Mr. West. Beautifully done. To Mark, just what a career. What a career. You did absolutely amazing in the Navy. Then you come over here, you put all your time and effort into making our city a better place. You help anyone who needs it. What a remarkable man. What else could you ask for? What else? Whether it be your progressive policies or your activism, just a stand-up man. I'm so happy to have you as a friend. Then finally, Dad, I'm so proud of you. I'm going to tear up. I'm so proud of you and everything you've done. And I'm so happy to call you my dad. I love you so much. Thank you. That's all.
Well, this is Mayor Dedina. Jake, first, I just want to tell you that was the best speech ever given at an Imperial Beach City Council meeting. And Bobby, really proud of your amazing son. And then Jake, I'm not sure when you'll be graduating from college, but I'm assuming you'll be running for office as well, because that was an amazingly well-delivered speech. So the entire Patton family must be very proud of you. And thank you, Jake, for all that you do for IB. And yeah, good luck and fair winds. So
I really appreciate that. Thank you, Serge.
yeah. Wow. I can't, wow. That was that. I think that's like the highlight of the whole year, right? Like, thank you, Jake. I really appreciate it. I got a little cheery and cheery at the same time. Additional questions or comments City Clerk Kelly?
Well, Mr. Mayor, I'm a little choked up, actually. That was wonderful, Jake. No, Mr. Mayor, that is it.
Okay, great. And so now we're going to move on to more emotional stuff. And this is the formal leaving office presentation for Councilmember Patton. And I'll turn over to City Manager Andy Hall.
I'm sorry, Mayor. We're all in tears over here. We are. Sorry.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks, Jake, for that. That's impossible to follow, but thank you, Jake. I appreciate it just like everyone else. Thank you so much. This is City Manager Hall. I'm honored to speak on behalf of the entire staff, and in particular the department heads, in saying thank you to Councilmember Patton for his 8 years of service on the City Council. So much has already been said about his dedication to the community and willingness to step forward and make very hard decisions, knowing not everyone was going to be happy. What so many of those who have commented don't get to experience is the real guy behind the dais. Councilman Patton allows a select few to call him Bobby, and I'm lucky enough to be one of those few people. When I think of Bobby, immediately several things. Excuse me? Oh, sorry. Immediately, several things come to mind, such as the creation of the Junior Lifeguard Program in Imperial Beach, his focus on recreation for everyone in the community, and making sure that all discussions and projects were focused on our mission statement and community values. But for those who didn't have a front row seat, I need to spill the beans on St. Robert. Bobby would drive City Clerk Kelly crazy by delaying his vote until she would have to ask him to cast his vote. He would have a smirk on his face, and a few of us knew what he was doing on purpose and had to hold back from laughing aloud. Finance Director Gitmed found out what it is like to be on his golf team, and if you miss a few putts or two, your permission to call him Bobby goes back to the more formal Robert very quickly. As the city manager, I found out really fast that it is always his preference to communicate with Assistant City Manager Cortez Martinez instead of listening to me drone on, and they always seem to spend most of their time laughing. The stories can go on, but I just want to say that in more than 30 years of doing this crazy job, I've never worked for an elected official that is less pretentious, more community-minded, and more of a team player than Councilmember Patton. Most importantly, I look forward to being able to beat him on the golf course. For years now, I have had to let him win. Bobby Patton is not only my boss and my mentor, but my friend. The department heads would like to present Councilmember Robert Patton with his own official street sign, Patton Place. And thank you so much for all the things said and unsaid. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. And I know now we have the second part of this is we have a gift from our city council, and that is, I'm not sure how we're doing that. How are we doing that, Mr. Hall or City Clerk Kelly?
So, Mayor, this is City Manager Hall. What we thought was we would give you and each council member an opportunity to say something to Councilman Patton, and then we also have a picture of the gift that the mayor and council purchased for Councilman Patton.
10-4. Okay, so we're going to give you a gift and present that, but we'll have council members say a few words, and then we'll do the picture of the gift, and then Bobby can say a few words or more than a few words. So starting with Mr. West.
Great, thank you, Jake. That was amazing. I just want you to know, and you are a very special young man, and I'm a better person because I know you, Jake. So Bobby, oh my God, brother, I want to thank you for all the times that we talked on behind the scenes and on the dais, and all the things we've been able to work on, and I just want you to know that all the things that everybody says about you caring about the community, being a part of the community, really getting in the details is very true. And you represent so many good things. And I think the greatest form of success is really when your children are raised and they're really turning out to be amazing. And your kids are fantastic. And I have to admit, as I'm scrolling through and looking at all the pictures today, I saw the picture that you're swearing in 8 years ago, and your kids were so small. They've grown a lot. So, but Bobby, I look forward to many things in the future, and let's continue our friendship. And thank you so much for being just an integral part and a leader throughout our city. So it's great to know you, brother.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Mr. West. Councilmember Spriggs.
Let me get unmuted here. Bobby, I was really moved by Jake's comments as well. Jake, fabulous. If I had one of my kids say that sort of thing on my last day on the council, I would be very pleased and very proud, and quite frankly, very surprised. So good job. Good job as a dad, good job as a parent, and great job as a city councilman. It's hard to believe 8 years have gone by, man, that we've been together on the city council. I can only say that I think of all the council members I've served with, I think you have been truly most steadfastly speaking for the community, being part of the community, and putting the kids first. That's something that's so important for us on the council. You also have really been very close to our schools and to the South Bay Union School District, and attending their events and being an informal liaison essentially between the council and the school district. Nobody is, I don't think, asked you to do that. You've done that on your own. And I think that's a very, very important thing. And we're going to really miss your presence and that role that you've played, connecting the city council to our schools and the needs of the school kids and the young people in our community. We will try to continue your legacy and your priority for those considerations, which are really the most important things that we can do as a council, is taking care of our young people. So I think you're going to really have hard shoes to fill, and I'm going to miss you very much. And God bless you, whatever you do next. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
Mayor Pro Tem Gary.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I apologize that I can't turn on my camera. I seem to have spotty Wi-Fi, but it's probably a good thing because I also got very teary-eyed, and that was a phenomenal and beautiful sentiment that your son Jake shared for all of us to see. But that is one thing that I know from personal experience, that you always led with heart. And that is something that I always cherished and appreciated in our working relationship. And a lot of times folks can't really see what's going on behind the scenes, but every single call, every single text that you and I exchanged was always having the community's best interest at heart, especially, like some of my colleagues have mentioned, the kids and youth, but also the most vulnerable in our community. And that isn't always easy because it's not always the most popular decision to make, but you always made the decision. And even if it was hard, you made it for those who were the most vulnerable in our community. And I always appreciated that. And, it was such a pleasure to work with you, especially because you always brought your humor, your dad jokes to the council. I always appreciated them, and I'm going to miss that most of all. But I know that you will be around town, and I really hope to see you in the lineup and continue to work with you, moving forward. So I'll miss you, Bobby.
Thank you, Paloma.
Thanks, Mayor Pro Tem. So, Bobby, I think I first met you in 1977. I was 13. You were part of the cool kids at Native Elm with your crew, and one of the best surfers in IB. We started working together as a lifeguard in 1981. I think more than 30 years of service to the city of Imperial Beach as a lifeguard, starting our junior lifeguard program, a model and safe for all time. And I'm just going to throw out three things. First, unwavering. I think, when we write the behind the scenes book about the water quality battle since 2017, since the mega tsunami, people probably don't realize how fast things were moving, how crazy things were, but how steadfast and unwavering you were in doing the right thing. Never wavered, ever. There was never a doubt. We're moving forward. We have to be loud and proud and aggressive to stop that pollution. You were on it. We could always count on you. It was awesome. Thank you. Number two, our staff. There was never anyone else who was more committed to making sure we were doing right by our employees. And I was always really impressed with that, making sure that we were trying to figure out how to take care of our employees, many of whom who grew up in IB and live in IB. And so I really do. I know they appreciate that, and we acknowledge that. That really, really important role that we all have to do that. And then number three, leadership. When you need to get on a plane and take the day off from work as a teacher to get up to Sacramento to advocate for a new swimming pool, arguably when it's going to be a huge legacy, you did it, and we're successfully helped get millions of dollars from the state of California to build a new 50-meter swimming pool, world-class swimming pool at Mar Vista High School. It'll be start construction next summer. You did that, and more importantly, your clarity of vision for the need to have parks and rec. And you and I grew up very similarly, having swam in pools and used that experience to become a lifeguard, which helped us get through college. And that's really important. Nothing was easy, and the way you did it, right? Self-made all the way. And so I know that legacy of junior lifeguards, but that new pool and our commitment to focusing on parks and rec and doing right by our kids and families will be a lasting legacy. And finally, great dad, great kids, great family. You're an awesome IB local, and thank you so much for your service. And your pragmatic center was super appreciated, and your collaborative, consensus-driven approach. And thank you so much. And now I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Oh, and Andy, I think, is this what we're doing? We're showing this, and then Bob, you can say a few words. So
correct, Mayor. He's a legendary golfer. So the city council wanted to get him some golf head covers. And so, Mayor, I'll turn it over to you. But yeah, that's the picture you see on the screen.
Great. This is our gift to you, Bobby. Continue to enjoy that. And then I'll turn it over to you for a few words, or more than a few words.
Yeah, thank you very much for the gifts. So yeah, I wrote a few words. I did have to wipe a few tears out of my eyes, not only for what my son said, which was amazing, but from what I heard from everybody else. Truly great. And I want to thank all the citizens, first of all, who believed in me and helped me get into this position, and everybody else for taking the time to be here this evening. I can't believe it's been 8 years, and it's been a great experience for me. I want to thank my wife, Katie, my son, Jake, of course, my daughter, Hannah, for all their support. As everybody else knows, you miss meetings. I'm stressed out sometimes because of the city council and all the business that's going on with the city. Sometimes I miss sporting events of my kids and functions, but they've always been there for me. And so I want to thank them. I love them. And I want to thank my hardworking colleagues of the city council. And I'm going to back at you guys right now with Ed Spriggs. First of all, Ed, always looking at things from various angles, always looking out for Imperial Beach finances, that they were stable. And, I thank you for that. Everybody thanks you. You find things, and you're good at it. Paloma, you think out of the box. You're a bright young woman, and you bring a lot of youthful energy to the council and to the city. And you're going to go far. Keep doing what you're doing. Mark West, always thinking of something better to do in Imperial Beach. Great energy, always wanting to do something. And so, Mark, you've done a lot for us, and I thank you. And then Mayor Serge Dedina, a longtime friend, great stories. You know, he'd tell him on the dais about surfing, about our lifeguarding together. And the mayor's holding the well-being of Imperial Beach on his shoulders, and he's doing a good job at it. So keep up the good work on that. Together, we've made a great team, and I'm going to miss that. And of course, my former city council members, Lori Bragg and Brian Pat Bilbray, they were fantastic to work with, great friends. And I even got a lot of good info from Congressman Bilbray, super smart and insightful. From the beginning, though, I couldn't have made it through the election process without help from an awesome, once-in-a-lifetime team. I had made a winner, former Imperial Beach Council member, brilliant person, who knew all the ropes and helped with everything. She helped make an idea into reality. That's why I'm here now. Diane Rose, former mayor of Imperial Beach, she knows the city like the back of her hand. She helped with all my walking routes where I walked and knocked throughout the whole city. Debbie Carey, she's an expert in design computer programs, and she helped make my brochures and mailers. Dee McLean, my treasurer, her husband Fred McLean was also an Imperial Beach City Council member. And Derek Fernandez will wrap it up, who helped with my social media. And there were many, many more who did walking for me. And finally, in this group, Bob Miller and Dan Malcolm for opening up their homes to me. And now there are also people in our city that helped make all these meetings flow and keep our city the best it can be. Many call them city staff. We'll just say city staff, city staff. The city staff is really a huge group of people. Some of the hardest people and dedicated people I know. So I'm just going to name a few, and hopefully I don't miss. Erica Cortez Martinez, Jackie Kelly, Sandra Cohen, Jennifer Lyon, Tyler Foltz, Chris Helmer, Courtney Stevens, Lieutenant Marquez, Chief Chase, Chief Frentz, Joanne Gitman, Eric Minicelli, Rihanna Ayala, Nyala Moreno, Edward Washington, and hopefully I didn't miss anybody. But I think I missed one person, and that would be Andy Hall. Yes, Andy Hall. An excellent city manager. I mean, we were blessed when Andy Hall came into our lives in the city. Imperial Beach is lucky to have him. I'm certainly lucky to call him a friend. And Andy, he humors everybody by saying I beat him. He's beaten me many times in golf. So thank you, Andy, for everything. In my last little section, I want to go over my next steps. Like, what am I going to do? 30 years as a city lifeguard, 8 years as a council member. Imperial Beach has been a great place to work for. I'm going to continue to advocate for our youth and for our seniors, and be involved in recreational activities one way or the other for the city, and in the city. I'll be around. No doubt we're in good hands. Jackie Fisher and Matthew Levio Gonzalez, our new city council members, you got this. You're with a great team. And I just want to say farewell to all my friends, and thank you.
Thanks so much, Bobby. Really appreciate it. Nice words. And thank you again. 38 years of service. That's nothing to, that's a big deal. So thank you. I really appreciate it. That's a lifetime of service. So, and that's public service. So thank you very much. And now we will turn it over to the leaving office presentation for Councilmember Mark West, and City Manager Hall will turn it over to you for to show you the street sign.
Thank you, Mayor Dedina. This is City Manager Hall. Once again, I'm honored to speak on behalf of the entire staff, and in particular the department heads, in saying thank you to Councilmember Mark West for his 4 years of service on the City Council. Similar to Councilmember Patton, many members of the public have already said some great things about his service to the community and the San Diego region. It is a little harder to tell stories about Councilmember West because he is more inclined to try and get even. Oh well, I'll take my chances and tell you a few behind the scenes things about Councilman West as well. He too he too has a name that only a few people get to use. Brandon is Mark's middle name and it is reserved for a select few. When Mayor Dedina and Mark West get into friendly arguments, a lot of Brandons start flying around. If you haven't been around Mark very much, it is impossible to describe the amount of energy that he has. The guy never stops. Chris and Eric can provide hundreds of pictures of graffiti sent to them on every day of the week and every hour of the day. Most of us are convinced that there is more than one of him running around because there is no way he can be at so many events at the same time. Before being elected to the city council, Mark served as in the Navy as an officer. But before that, he was raised in Colorado, just below, in every way, my home state of Wyoming. It was fun on occasion to start talking with Mark and fall into that Intermountain West lingo using words like crick, I reckon, and all words ending in ing without the G. Walking, talking, shooting, and drinking is about all that matters in the Intermountain West. Councilmember West loves to laugh, have a lot of fun, and talk like a sailor. On more than one occasion, he had to surrender $1 to Councilmember Bragg for using bad language. He also admits to jumping off the pier to avoid having to paddle out through big surf, and I look forward to catching him and giving him a huge fine. Like before, the stories can go on, but I'm lucky to have been selected to say thank you to Councilmember West. He's been a great public servant. The department heads would like to present Councilmember Mark West with his own official street sign, West Way, for all you've done in the city of IB. Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks, Andy.
Very nice. Thank you, City Manager Hall. And I know we have a gift certificate from Surf Hut to continue to help you fulfill your surf destiny. And I know you've been charging this swell, one of the biggest swells we've had and cleanest swells we've had in years. So, and you and I were out in the water last year when I got hammered. And the last big clean north swell. And we've been out many swells around that as well. And now I'd like to invite council members to say a few words in appreciation of your service, starting with Mr. Patton.
Okay, there I am. I'm still kind of in shock with everything that's going on right now. Let me kind of get a grip here. Mark, I've said it before and I'll say it again. You've done so many things and your list is probably never ending for an Imperial Beach. And I know that even though you're going to be no longer a council member like myself, we're still here and we still have the Imperial Beach best interest always. And we'll be here. And Mark, you did a fantastic job for 4 years. We were definitely lucky to have you. And thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Spriggs.
Thanks, Bobby.
Gosh. Thank you, Mayor. Mark, boy, you are a force, and you're really going to be missed. Your energy and positivity got us through, I think, a lot of difficult issues and meetings and long sessions. And just like Bobby's warped sense of humor helped get us through some of those things. Either one of you guys or the other. I think we're driving forces in your own way to help us, us more humorless people get through very long sessions. So I'm going to always remember your energy and your commitment to the community has been really a thing to behold. I think I will always remember when we had the COVID task force, your leadership with the business community in Imperial Beach and making sure that we had a way to get them funding when the funding was available to keep them going. Your leadership in clearing the streets so that they could operate in the public right-of-way when only outdoor operations were permitted. Just and your leadership in terms of public art in the community. I mean, some real strong, wonderful legacies that your 4 years on the council have given this community. And I, for one, really appreciate all of those gifts from you. Finally, you're the dude connected to our big partner, the Navy. That is a major connection, and your being able to provide that perspective on when issues come up, and your connection to the COs and the others in the Navy, I think is a rare and wonderful thing that we are going to miss as well. And just as I said with Councilmember Patton and his connection to the school district, your connection to the Navy is irreplaceable. And we're going to have to find, I think, a way from the great lessons we learned from that connection, how to sort of keep it going in some way. So thank you so much for your service and all the gifts that you've given Imperial Beach. Take care.
Thanks, Ed.
Thank you, Mr. Spriggs. Councilmember Aguirre.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mark, I echo what Ed just said. You are a force to be reckoned with, and you brighten any room you walk in, and your energy is just contagious. And as you know, you and I go back way, way before both our times on the council. Thank you for all the work that you've done for this community since you were chair of the No Border Sewage at Surfrider, pushing for solutions to the Tijuana River pollution. During your time on council, pushing for that plastics ban. I know you led that, and you kept us honest and pushing us with the climate action plan too. You know, you always said we can do better, we can push more, and it's thanks to your leadership we had a solid climate action plan. And that's just at the local level. I mean, your power of mobilization always impressed me. With the Clean Cities Initiative, every time we had a cleanup, we had hundreds of people show up. And I know that was entirely because of you and your power to mobilize people. And those selfies, man, they'll be historic. I know. I learned that from you. But I also want to thank you for your regional leadership. You represented our city so well at the Community Choice Power the board at the San Diego Airport Authority. And I know this because so many leaders, you know, have reached out and, you know, said how sad they are to see you leave the council. I mean, from the highest level of government, Congressman Mark Levin, Congressman Juan Vargas, to all our regional mayors, I know this is just the beginning for you, and I know I'll see you out in the water. Probably not as early as you. I don't know how you do it. You have so much energy. I don't know when you sleep, but I'll try and get up earlier and see you out in the water. So thank you for everything, Mark.
Thanks, Paloma.
Well, hey, you know, Mark, I won't repeat all the amazing things that people have said. I'll just use the term machine-like efficiency, relentless machine-like efficiency. And again, when the giant historical novel or non-fictional account of the water quality campaign comes to light, your role in helping secure $300 million in your relationship with Mike Levin will probably be a chapter. And I'm not sure how many times you called him. He might say that you were stalking him, but that played a major role in helping make that happen. So thank you for never hesitating. Their response always was, I'll call him. I'll call him. I'll call him. It's like, okay, we knew the attack dog was going to be there. Number two, your very deep connection and relationship and friendship with Supervisor Fletcher played a big role in helping us get daily testing and IB. It made a huge difference. It took years to get that done, and we got that launched this summer. So thank you for that. And, you know, one thing I know that you're as obsessive and much more than I am in this Clean Cities initiative is we only have to see how clean IB is and the impact of your work. And when you come from San Diego to IB and you see our spotless streets, right? And if they're not spotless, Andy Hall knows that you will be calling him 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, Saturday, Sunday, doesn't matter, day off. You will be on him to get that stuff cleaned up, which is good. You know, I know it's a pain, Andy, but you know, the reality, we really appreciate it. And then we saw your leadership during this ongoing COVID crisis and relentlessly optimistically reaching out to our businesses and trying to make sure they could survive this pandemic. So, and this economic collapse. So thanks, Mark. And, for all your optimism, relentlessly charging optimism. And I look forward to seeing you in the water and continuing to be really good friends. So thanks for your public service. That's the highest calling, is public service. And I say that to you as well, Mr. Patton. Public service, giving selfless service to others for the betterment of all. And both of you, Mr. West and Councilmember Patton, exemplify that. So I'll turn it over to you, Mr. West. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mayor. That was really nice. I really appreciate it. So I just want to say good evening to everyone watching and to my colleagues and friends. I was sitting in the lineup today, and it was about 2 feet overhead, and all I could think about was the city and all the things that are going on. And I just want you all to know that it has been an absolute pleasure serving and working with everyone in our community. And I think it is rare to know in one's heart that you've made a positive impact on your community. That's why I'm so grateful to have had the opportunity to serve Imperial Beach with my colleagues over these last 4 years as your council member. I am extremely proud of the many accomplishments that the residents, business owners, and our amazing staff, and also this council, have been able to achieve as a unanimous force. I want to thank you for trusting me. Together, we have made great impacts on our community, and we have made great impacts on many things throughout our county. It has been a pleasure working with Mayor Dedina, Councilmember Aguirre, Councilmember Patton, Councilmember Spriggs, and I can't say this enough, the staff is amazing. We've created a true legacy. In the years and decades to come, our neighbors will walk in our legacy. A cleaner ocean, cleaner beaches, a protected natural habitat, safer streets, and more pleasant promenades, and a plan for resilient, equitable, and just Imperial Beach. I firmly believe that no city has a staff that is more dedicated, more committed, and more talented than ours. The last 4 years have presented enormous challenges, and together we've met them head on. The next council will continue to face difficult challenges, particularly when it comes to recovering from this terrible pandemic. I know that Jack Fisher and Matthew Gonzalez will unite with this council and meet those challenges head on, as we have always done in the past. No concern for future elections should determine the path of our leaders, what the path of our leaders take. Instead, courage in the face of adversity and resistance guarantees that IB will continue to make progress on behalf of all of its residents. There are so many people that I want to thank by name, but we'd be here a long time, and I want to make sure we get to give Mr. Fisher and Mr. Leva Gonzalez their due respect. So to my friends on the dais, I am so proud to have been your colleague. To our neighbors across the street and across our community, thank you for the honor of helping to serve this city. I'm very excited about the future, and I wish everyone the best. Stay safe, healthy, and happy, and fair winds and falling seas, my friends. Take care.
Thank you so much, Mr. West, or we say deep barrels and offshore winds. Which you'll be getting a lot of in the next few days. And with that, I would like to say again, thank you, Mr. Patton and Mr. West. And now we're going to move it on to the new part. See you, Bobby. Thanks again. And Mr. West. And we'll move it on to item number 4, and that's the oath of office. And City Clerk Kelly, will we start that off? Do you have any public comments?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have one written comment, and it's from Anna Webb, and she says, congratulations to council members-elect Matthew Leba Gonzalez and Jack Fisher. I look forward to your service for the city of Imperial Beach, for your districts, and our entire city as a whole. Thank you for stepping up and look forward to working with you in the future. Anna Webb. And
Thanks. So this is the exciting part of the evening. Well, it was all exciting, but very nice, really wonderful part of the evening, and fundamental part of our democracy, the transition of power and honoring election results and new council members, the old and then the new. So I want to thank everybody for all their respect for each other, decency and transparency, and respect for our Constitution and our democracy. So with that, I know in the spirit of transparency, I know Jack and Matthew would like me to say this. If there are public comments afterwards, City Clerk Kelly, I will let me know, and we can obviously read those or have people comment. If not, I will move it on. We'll close the public comment period for now, but I'll move it on to invite Councilmember-elect Jack Fisher to join the meeting, and Tim O'Neill, the legendary Tim O'Neill, will administrate Councilmember-elect Fisher's ceremonial oath of office. Great to see you guys.
Okay, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, John Jack Fisher.
I, John Jack Fisher.
Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
And the Constitution, State of California.
And the Constitution of the State of California.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
That I will bear truth, faith, and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States.
That I will bear truth, faith, and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States.
And the Constitution of the State of California.
And the Constitution of the State of California.
That I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation.
That I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation.
Or purpose of evasion.
Or purpose of evasion.
And that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties.
And that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties.
And that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties.
That I will well faithfully discharge the duties.
Attaboy. Upon which I'm about to enter.
Upon which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yay!
Congratulations, Jack, and thank you, Tim. Appreciate that. And I know, just for the record, this will be done with our city clerk. There you go, Shaka. And it's a bummer that we're not with you in person, but thank you very much. And now we'll move it over to, I'd like to invite Councilmember-elect Leyva Gonzalez and City Clerk Kelly. You told me there's a new substitution of the person to read the oath. Could you mention that, read that name, please?
yes, Mr. Mayor, it will be Lori McElroy.
Great, thank you so much. And she will administer Councilmember-elect Leyva Gonzalez's ceremonial oath of office. Great to see you, Matthew.
Good to see you.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Matthew Leyva Gonzalez,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I'm about to enter.
in which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Very nice. And hey guys, first, I know Jack's got to get set up on his PC. Let me say this. It's a bummer we can't be celebrating. You can't be celebrating with us in person and be with the community in person. I'm sure my colleagues in the council and city staff will agree, and our residents. Let's figure out when we get through this and we're all vaccinated and we're all safe to get back together, and then we can have a party for you in person with a cake and everyone present to acknowledge and celebrate your new positions. I think that would be really appropriate, unless there's any, we don't have to have a motion for that, but I definitely think that would be appropriate. And I know it's really important these types of ceremonies and celebrations are really important. So good. I thank you, Councilmember Spriggs and Paul McGeary. I think that's really important. So again, Jack, are you there now?
I don't know, babe.
City Clerk Kelly, is Councilmember Fisher there?
I'm here, Mayor.
Awesome, great. Welcome to the evening, and great to see you. And everyone's here. Councilmember Matthew Leyva Gonzalez, it's great to have you here. Thank you. And again, guys, we're all going to be really patient. And if something's happening and you need to raise your hand, or in terms of the process, don't hesitate to do that. And I say that only because this is all new, right? It's not like we've all done this before. So congratulations. It's great to see you here. And I will have City Clerk Kelly take the new role of our new council.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Leyva Gonzalez. You can say here.
Here.
Thank you. Councilmember Fisher.
Here.
Councilmember Spriggs.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem McGeary.
Here.
And Mayor Dedina.
Dedina here. Thank you. Great. And now, do we have any public comments?
Yes, I see a raised hand. It looks like former Mayor Diane Rose.
Okay, great.
Hi there. I just wanted to jump back in just for a quick minute and welcome Jack and Matthew to the City Council. I am so proud of you guys for stepping up to serve our community. I know this seems a little daunting, and believe me, I have walked in these steps before. So just hang in there. My very first meeting, not council meeting, but workshop, was on sewer rates, and it was like a whole nother language. But you know what? You'll get through it. Your best heart is with the community, and just hang in there. Just know you can trust the staff and trust your other council members. So good luck to all of you.
Thank you so much, former Mayor Diane Rose. Very nice. And so I will.
Mr. Mayor?
Any additional questions or comments?
There is another speaker, Eric Syverson. Mr. Syverson?
Yes, my name is Eric Syverson, Imperial Beach native, current resident of unincorporated San Diego County. I'd like to thank Mr. Patton and Mr. West for their service to the city. It's not always an easy job, and both of them have served the city well, and I appreciate that. To incoming council member Fisher and incoming council member Leyva Gonzalez and the rest of the remaining council, I realize that classic Southern California is the motto of the city. But I hope in the future that we will expand what the city is really about, because honestly, the DNA of this place is much greater than classic Southern California. And I hope that we would reach for greater. When you sit on that new promenade on Imperial Beach Boulevard and you look south, realize that those two massive slot canyons, though they are filled in modern days, are the literal entrance to California, both in indigenous and in modern times. And the true settlement of Oneonta's goal was to be the port city of California, and it was moved later inland to where Crespi came through. Beyond that, when you see the helicopters, know that is the birthplace of aviation on the West Coast. They flew there long before they flew on North Island, at least a year before Curtis showed up, and helicopter warfare was also born on that field as you see those helicopters fly around. This city and this place have a great tradition, and I'd love to help any and all of you continue that and continue it on its path. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, that was the final public comment.
I'm sorry, City Clerk Kelly, additional public comments?
That was the final comment.
And then just so I'm clear, are we going to have Jack and Matthew say a few words? Is that right?
Yes.
Sorry that we had to have the public comment first. So I'll open it up with new council member Fisher. The floor is yours.
Hey, wonderful. Thanks so much. I can't express my love and appreciation to the residents of Imperial Beach for putting their faith and their trust in me. And I look forward to serving them in the highest capacity that I'm able to. Also look forward to serving with you, Mr. Mayor, and the other members of the City Council. I've greatly enjoyed my time that I spent over the past couple of weeks talking with city staff and City Manager Hall and Assistant City Manager Cortez. I can't wait to figure out all that's in their brain, all they know about the city. That even as a long-term resident, it's a lot of things that I've never ever even thought about or heard about. So I'm just excited. I'm grateful. Obviously, a little nervous, making sure I take the right steps. But I have good people who are in front of me and behind me to my sides that will make sure I stay on the right path. So glad to be here. Thank you very much to everyone.
Short and sweet. Thank you, Jack. That was very nice. It's great to see you. And it's nice to have a lifetime resident serving on the dais. And we look forward to serving with you. Now, Mr. Leyva Gonzalez, it's great to see you.
Thank you, Mayor Dedina. I have an endless list of individuals that I must thank, but the list is too long. I'm thankful to everyone for their support during this whole process, for believing in me, for instilling me the beliefs that individual coming from my working class background can accomplish anything. And with that, I'm very excited and I'm looking forward to working with all of the council members, the mayor, the city staff. Thank you very much.
Short and sweet, both of you, and to the point. Thank you both. Very nice words, and it's great to see you. And again, commitment is to make sure that it may be in a year, it may be in 6 months, when we're all vaccinated and we're all good. We may still be wearing masks. I'm not sure what we'll be doing, but we will get together in person and party and celebrate this with a cake and invite the community. I think that's really, really important to mark this important milestone. So again, thank you for running. Thank you for serving, and we look forward to serving with you. And so now we'll get right to the point with our city council meeting. And so now Community Development Director Foltz has an announcement.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. This is Community Development Director Foltz. This is to provide a brief update for COVID-19 and some of the happenings within the state and our city. This chart here shows a tabulation of the amount of cases of COVID-19 within Imperial Beach over the last few months. Since, as you can see, we started tabulating this in April. For a little while, there was a little bit of a spike in July, and then it was a little stagnant for a few months. But in the month of November, you can see quite the climb in cases, about 286 cases in Imperial Beach in the month of November. And this is a weekly chart. Again, just tabulating the cases within the city. And as you can see, as the weeks have gone on, it was a little stagnant for a while, but it drastically increased over the last few weeks, beginning around November. And then this is a daily chart, again, showing the spike in cases around November. This is the cases per 100,000 within Imperial Beach. This is the blue line here. The green line is the that same calculation, but for total San Diego County. And then at the bottom here, you could see the total Imperial Beach cases, all of which have spiked around the time of November. However, that was not unique to Imperial Beach. Those same calculations or increases happened throughout not only the county, but also the entire state. And here we're just showing the case rates increased and the positivity percentages increased as well. But here's the chart showing the entire state of California, and you could see the tiers essentially have drastically increased over the last few weeks, where almost the entire state is within the purple tier or beyond, actually, which led to a new regional stay-at-home order. This new order was passed on December 3rd by the governor. It prohibits gatherings of any sizes. It closes certain operations for businesses, except for critical infrastructure and retail, and it requires 100% masking and physical distancing. It went into effect in San Diego at 11:59 p.m. on December 6th. It's going to last for at least 3 weeks, and it affects the regions with less than 15% ICU availability. I believe San Diego's at about 20%. However, San Diego's lumped in with the entire Southern California region, which is why we are within that tier of the less than 15% ICU availability. and that's why we're on the regional stay-at-home order right now. The only way to get off the regional stay-at-home order is after this 3 weeks, they're going to reevaluate, and our projection has to be 15% or beyond for the ICU capacity. So what's closed? There's a list of things: all indoor recreation, overnight stay at campgrounds, hair salons and barbershops, personal care services, including nail salons, movie theaters, wineries, bars, breweries, distilleries, etc. More or less, a lot of areas that invite congregating of people, gathering of people. There are some facilities that are open. So outdoor recreational facilities are open. However, a sale of food or drink for on-site consumption is not allowed. Initially, when the governor made this announcement, playgrounds were not allowed, were not going to be open. That was reversed today. So outdoor playgrounds are permitted. They are allowed to be open, and outdoor gyms are allowed to be permitted. Again, has to be outdoors. Restaurants are allowed to operate, but only for takeout or pickup. You can't have any indoor or outdoor dining. Retail has to be a maximum 20% capacity. Same with shopping centers. You cannot have in-store eating or drinking at either of those. For hotels, only critical infrastructure is allowed for usage of the hotels. For offices, it all should be remote work, except for critical infrastructure if you can't work remotely. Places of worship can have outdoor services, and entertainment or professional sports can operate, but with no audiences. And then schools are only allowed to operate if they were already operating before this order went into place. So one of the questions that people have is, can you go outside because it's a shutdown order? Well, a shutdown doesn't mean you can't go out. You could definitely go out. It's encouraged that you go out. But you have to be with members of the same household, and you're encouraged to go to a park or hike or walk or take a bike ride. And you can see some of the pictures that we have in Imperial Beach where we could take advantage of those methods. Again, playgrounds can remain open. Just wanted to let the public know that. And also make sure you don't forget your face covering and that you physically distance. So there are some questions about what can businesses do, because there are some more difficulties for their operations. The city is going to assist them with the reservation of the parking spaces in front of their storefront if they want to use it, and if we can deem that it can be used safely and that it could still provide access for the public. So if any business out there wants to utilize street parking or areas in front of their businesses, whether it be for pickup or delivery or other reasonable uses, please give me a call. Contact me directly. I got my phone number up here, 619-628-2381, or my email address, tfoltz@imperialbeachca.gov. We could discuss the logistics of where you want to locate it, how long, how often, what you need, or if anybody has any questions or if they have ideas about how we could help local businesses, please contact me. For the public, the ways that they can assist these businesses is to try to use parking lots when feasible so that the stores can use the street parking areas for their services, and also, of course, shop local and eat local. That concludes this update.
Thank you, Mr. Fultz, for that clear and concise and sobering analysis. Any questions or comments from City Council? Great. With that, we'll move on to our consent calendar items. That's 1 through 5. And City Clerk Kelly will announce any public comments that they've been received or not.
I see one raised hand, and it's Eric Syverson. Mr. Syverson, please unmute yourself and begin.
My name is Eric Syverson, Imperial Beach native, current resident of unincorporated San Diego County. I am commenting on consent item number 3, the resolution of the declaration of emergency concerning the Tijuana River Valley. There have been a number of actions and updates regarding this issue over the last, 15 to 20 days. Currently, the Tijuana River is not running. It is dry at Dairy Mart Road. IBWC has prepared Smuggler's Gulch south of Monument Road in the last week for the rainy season. They have cleared east of Dairy Mart of brush for the rainy season, and there is no river. The EPA gave a presentation of expanded scope from 7 to 10 projects, of which the Surfrider TRV Stakeholder Foundation project, I believe, is project number 1 and cut in half. I would appreciate if the city would update which projects it supports out of the EPA of 1 through 10 and how they correspond to the needs and assessments matrix provided by the county, because when I looked, I couldn't find it. And there's quite a bit of creep in this USMCA money down to Punta Banderas. Beyond that, we owe the Trump administration an incredible thank you. Anthony Wheeler of the EPA, Jane Harkins of the International Boundary and Water Commission have done unbelievable work on our behalf. The EPA has basically replaced pump station SELA. It is run by private contractors. They have replaced endless amounts of pipe, collectors, pumps, all done with American money through Conagua and various organizations in Mexico, and all to the great benefit of us. Now it is time to come up with some management solutions, and we need a comprehensive traction debris plan. Hope to work with Gabriel Torres from the Surfrider Foundation, C4, Mitch McKay, and Leon Benham, and anybody else willing to pick up cash on this issue, because not a damn tire has moved yet again. Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor, that is it for public comments.
Great, thank you, Mr. Syverson. The public comment period is now closed, and I would like to entertain a motion to approve consent calendar items numbers 1 through 5.
Spriggs, so move. Oh, Spriggs, second.
Great, thank you very much. And City Clerk Kelly will take an oral roll call vote, and that's a helicopter in the background, I think, for the United States Navy.
There has been a motion by Aguirre, second by Spriggs, to approve consent calendar items numbers 1 through 5. Councilmember Leyva Gonzalez, how do you vote?
Leyva Gonzalez, aye.
Councilmember Fisher, how do you vote?
Fisher, aye.
Councilmember Spriggs, how do you vote?
Spriggs, aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Aguirre, how do you vote?
Aguirre, aye.
And Mayor Dedina, how do you vote?
Dedina, aye.
Motion carried unanimously.
Great, and now we have item, make sure I just get, we go through item number 1, and that's review of fiscal year 2019-20 audited financial statements and related documents. Finance Director Gitman will give the report.
Honorable Mayor and City Council, this is Finance Director Gitmad, and I am here tonight to present the City of Imperial Beach's fiscal year 2019-2020 audited financial statements. I am going to try to make this presentation relatively short because it's a lot of good news this year. So to begin with, we audit, if you're not aware, we are audited at least once a year by various agencies. And the big one that we're presenting tonight is our annual fiscal audit. And the audit is prepared by a third party, an independent party. And the idea is to give an objective review of the city's operations, systems, and processes and records. And it's designed to add value by improving an organization's efficiency, effectiveness, and transparency. Before going into the audit, though, I want to kind of go over one of the terms that we use often, not only in our audit, but in our budget. And I'm doing this because we do have some new members around. We refer a lot to funds when we're talking about things. And one of the different funds that we deal with here within the city, we have the general fund, which is our primary operating fund of our government. So most of our administrative activities are handled through this general fund. It's also the one that's primarily supported by property taxes, sales taxes, and those kind of items. We also have special revenue funds. Now those funds account for the revenues and expenditures of resources that are usually restricted or committed for specific purposes. A couple examples of our special revenue funds would be our gas tax funds or our Transnet funds. Those are all required to be separated so that their uses can be tracked and verified. And then we also have what are called proprietary funds. Now, these funds are similar to a business in how they operate, in the fact that there's usually some form of a user fee that is imposed in order to help support the fund and its expenses. And the two types of proprietary funds we have are an enterprise fund, which is our sewer fund. And then we have internal service funds, which are actually operated within the city itself. And those are our vehicle maintenance, risk management, information technology, and our facility maintenance funds. To go ahead and go into the numbers now, for the city, for fiscal year 20, our citywide revenues were about $35.2 million. Our general fund was about 21.9 million of that, or about 62%. So it is our largest factor of our revenue source. We also had our sewer fund, which was about 5.3 million, and that was 15%. And then we have our internal services at 1.2, and those other governmental funds, which is primarily the remainder of our special revenue funds at 3.7 million. On the expenditure side, we again brought in about 35.9, or had about $35.9 million in expenditures, of which the general fund was about 21.8 or 61%. Our other governmental funds, or those special revenue funds, were about 7.5 million. The sewer fund at 4.8, and our internal services at about 1.7. To focus primarily on the general fund, because as I said, that's our primary operating fund. For the year, our actual revenues exceeded our budgeted revenues by about $770,000. And the reason for this was primarily related to our property taxes. We had an influx of about $725,000 in property taxes above what had originally been budgeted for. On the expenditure side, our actual expenditures came in below our amended budget by about 1.3 million. Now, while we did see some slight increases in some areas related to the cannabis initiative and appeals and in the COVID-related costs, due to the actions of the city, and that's from the city council all the way down to our staff, we did see decreases in some of our expenditures because as a result of the financial preparation and recovery plan that council passed back in March, there was a soft hiring freeze and a soft spending freeze. And then the departments were very conscientious about overseeing their department or their budgets to be sure that we did what we could to decrease our spending because we weren't sure what the COVID or pandemic was going to do. And then in addition to that, we had about $1.5 million in CIP projects that had been approved in this fiscal year, that weren't completed, and those budgets will carry over into 2021. But overall, in summary, our revenues exceeded the expenditures in the general fund by just shy of $89,000. So that will be our increase in our fund balance for this fiscal year. So the fund balance is the part that people usually end up getting excited about because that's kind of like our savings accounts. And the primary one that we focus on is our general fund unassigned fund balance. Those are the monies that aren't committed for anything in particular at this point in time. They allow us to be able to operate during times when our cash flow is reduced, which is usually the first part of our fiscal year. It also allows us to have cash available for any unanticipated expenditures. So council passed a policy where our unassigned fund balance should be between 30 and 40% of our budgeted general fund expenditures. At June 30th, the unassigned balance will be about 8.2 million or 38% of the general fund expenditures. We also have a policy for an economic uncertainty fund balance, which actually is an example of its use. The city council had authorized its use during fiscal year 20 during the COVID pandemic, which thankfully we did not have to actually use. We were able to maintain that balance. But that policy calls for a 10% of general fund expenditures, so for $2.1 million, which we do have there. We also have restricted fund balances for strategic capital, just over $1 million, and a public works assigned fund balance of $1.3 million. And if you look at the graphs, actually, could you go back just real quick? If you look at the graphs, you can see the comparison from last year to this year, from fiscal year 19 to fiscal year 20 of the fund balances. And you can see we basically had increases in all categories, with the exception of the strategic, and the result, or that reduction is a result of the council authorization to use fund balance for the strategic fund balance for capital projects. So this is where the good news, at least for the staff side of it, always comes in. Back in fiscal year 18-19, as a result of the audit, we had found there was 4 findings in our audits, and those were primarily related to reconciliation and closing processes. There were no fiscal improprieties. So when people hear findings, sometimes they get a little alarmed, but this really just had to do with internal processes. So fiscal year 1920 was a real challenge. Staff had to work with new staff changes, meaning myself coming into position here, new policies that had been implemented by existing management, new policies implemented by myself, procedural changes, and then we threw COVID-19 at them and had them all have to go home and try to work from home. So with all of these obstacles and the wonderful cooperation of, again, from council all the way down to staff, we are actually very pleased to announce that we had no findings from our audit in 1920. So at this time, staff is recommending that the City Council and the Board receive and file the fiscal year 20 City of Imperial Beach audited financial statements and the related documents. Thank you, and I'm available if you have any questions.
Thank you so much, Finance Director Gitmed. I will thank you for that right to the point and impactful presentation. I will move to public comments first. Are there any public comments, City Clerk Kelly?
Mr. Mayor, there are no raised hands and no email either.
Great. So we'll start with the City Council discussion, starting with City Council Member Leyva Gonzalez. You're not obligated to speak. You can ask questions, speak, whatever you want. But I will call just our new council members. We go through the order of it's City Council Member Leyva Gonzalez, City Council Member Fisher, Council Member Spriggs, Mayor Pro Tem McGeary, and then we shift the order so just make sure that everybody gets a fair shot. So I will start with Council Member Leyva Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mayor Dedina. I have nothing to add tonight. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Mr. Fisher. Council Member Fisher.
You know, I just want to add how great it is to walk into a position where the boat's very steady and moving at a swift speed. So I'm grateful to be in a position where the city's doing well. It gives, I think, myself and the rest of the city council an opportunity to do great things and not have to worry about some of the financial stuff. So great job to city staff.
And I want to comment, Mr. Fisher, I know that you and I were both involved with city stuff before we were elected, and this issue of the audit was of concern and city finances. So I want to thank you for a long period of being involved in a real positive, constructive voice and getting back to basics and managing city finances. So thank you for that. And of course, the other great voice in that has been Councilmember Spriggs. Please go ahead.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And it is really gratifying to see that our city has come through, or so far, the COVID-19 pandemic crisis without having to invade reserves. And that is unlike most of the cities in the state, from what I've gathered attending League of California Cities workshops and sessions. And I think it's due to the fact that we have really paid attention to prudent management of our resources and to taking worst case scenario assumptions regarding the impact of the pandemic on our budget. And considering that everyone is so optimistic about the impact of the vaccine on one hand, but on the other hand, our horrendous and growing rates of infection and uncertainty regarding how many people are going to get the vaccine and how soon, I think we'll need to be conservative, at least with regard to our anticipated revenues and expenses during the pandemic period for possibly into the entire next calendar year. But I really want to thank Joanne Gitme for her work since she's come on board, and it's really great that we don't have any audit findings. That's I don't want to say it's expected, because you never know when you're going to get an audit, and municipal finances are very complicated. So it really is testimony to Joanne and Erica and the staff that everything has been cleaned up, and we're moving forward without any audit findings. So with that, I hope, Mayor, that we will schedule a workshop or some session where we have a more detailed and informal opportunity for the new council members, especially to understand all the different budget aspects, hear from the different departments, get a sense of how the city operates, because that's how we've managed as a city council, I believe, to understand what we need to do when a crisis like this comes up in order to keep our city afloat. Thank you very much.
That's a great idea, Mr. Spriggs, Councilmember Spriggs. So let's think about a public workshop, budget workshop, and maybe in the first quarter of next year. And so we can really sort of walk through these issues for the public and our council members, council as well, but also to really discuss how we're going to be laying out strategic investments and addressing, these issues. So no, thank you. Great suggestion. Mayor Pro Tem McGarry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to commend, Finance Director Gidmed, Assistant City Manager Cortez Martinez, and City Manager Hall for their due diligence and for thinking outside of the box and going above and beyond when it comes to our finances, not just through this, crisis, through this COVID pandemic, but I'd like to just remind our audience that, we've been through a lot in the last few years, from, our loss with our former finance director to now. And, compared to other cities, we are doing well. And it's because of all the hard work from our entire team. So I just want to commend all of you for a great job and, and keeping the ship steady, because a lot of other cities are struggling, and we're making it through. So I'm very grateful. And that's it, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor Pro Tem McGarry. And so, Finance Director Gitmed, but all our city, city staff, City Manager Hall, Assistant City Manager Cortez, thank you, and all the other staff involved in first prudent fiscal management. I think you used that word, Mr. Spriggs. Prudent management, prudent oversight, and then safeguarding the public trust. And this issue of the audit is significant. Over the last 6 years, we've seen a significant improvement in our audit findings. That's great. And now we have some, robust or prudent prudent finances. It's clear, though, that as we made strategic investments back in city infrastructure, that our finances have done well. And I hope that we continue to safeguard our finances and have prudent management, but to continue to make prudent and strategic, pragmatic investments in infrastructure and improving our neighborhoods and to continue to manage and improve safe streets. So that's important. I was just looking at the UCLA, kind of a famous forecast is the UCLA Anderson forecast, which came out today or yesterday. And they talked about the next few months will be dire with rising COVID infections, continued social distancing, and the expiration of social assistance programs. We know that, but they really do assume, the assumption is when these vaccinations take place, they predicted the annualized growth in the nation's gross domestic product will accelerate from a weak 1.2% in the current quarter to a 1.8% in the first quarter of next year, then to a booming 6% in next year's second quarter, and then with potential over 3% growth after that. So we've got to get through these next few months and then start really, again, continue to safeguard our city's investments and oversight of management, which I think represents as audit findings, and then start identifying those strategic investments we need to make in improving the quality of life for all and really improving our neighborhoods and streets and in public safety, obviously. So thanks, everyone. And with that, there is no vote required, and we will receive and file the FY 20 City of Imperial Beach audited financial statements and the documents. And now we'll move on to item number 2, and that's advise and consent in relation to the mayor's appointments for annual city council representation assignments for 2021. And I will do the reporting out. In accordance with I have to do this FPPC regulation 18702.5 of Form 806. Agency report of public official appointments was posted on the city's website, listing the paid appointed positions to which council members will vote to appoint themselves. So City Clerk Kelly, do you want to just go through that? So the public and city council members can see that. And for the members of the public, these are the standard committees and assignments that city council members have representing the city inside the city and outside the city. And do we have any public comments?
No, Mr. Mayor, there are no raised hands and no email.
And if there are, after city council discussion, we can discuss that, have those public comments come forward. And so now the public comment period is now closed, and we can start city council discussion beginning with council member. We'll start with Mayor Pro Tem McGarry. Any questions or comments?
No, Mr. Mayor, thank you. I support the list as is.
Mr. Councilmember Spriggs? Any questions or comments?
No, Mr. Mayor. It looks reasonable, and I am glad that the new council members are going to have an opportunity to dive right in to these assignments. Thank you.
And Mr. Councilmember Fisher?
Yeah, like Councilmember Spriggs just mentioned, I'm really looking forward to jumping into some of these assignments, getting out there, meeting some of the people of the public and maybe their concerns and needs. So thanks for the assignments, much appreciated.
Thank you, Councilmember Leyva Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mayor, for the appointments. I look forward to being very involved and working with everyone. Thank you.
Great, thanks. And just to comment, and I know former Mayor Rose made this comment about jumping into these complex issues. The voters didn't elect you because of your detailed knowledge of wastewater rates. They did elect you because of their commitment to balanced and fair government and common sense, right? And so that's the most, you may walk onto these committees not being the most knowledgeable on specific issues, but none of us have any doubt about all of your commitment to serving the people in the city of Imperial Beach. And that's first and foremost the job of these committees, is to represent and advocate for the city of Imperial Beach and our residents on these committees. So thanks to everybody who's been serving, and then we look forward to having Councilmember Leyva Gonzalez and Councilmember Fisher continue to serve anew. And it's actually, you learn a lot and meet a lot of interesting people, and hopefully we'll get back to normal so you can have these meetings in person. It'll make it even that more special. So with that, I'd like to entertain a motion to consent to the mayor's appointments for city council representation assignments for 2021.
Spriggs, so move.
Aguirre, second.
Great, thank you. And City Clerk Kelly will take an oral roll call vote.
There has been a motion by Spriggs, second by Aguirre, to consent to the mayor's appointments for city council representation assignments for 2021. Councilmember Leyva Gonzalez, how do you vote?
Leyva Gonzalez, aye.
Councilmember Fisher, how do you vote?
Fisher, aye.
Councilmember Spriggs, how do you vote?
Spriggs, aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Aguirre, how do you vote?
Aguirre, aye.
And Mayor Dedina, how do you vote?
Dedina, aye.
Motion carried unanimously.
Well, I think that's it, everyone. Again, Councilmember Fisher and Councilmember Leyva Gonzalez, it's a pleasure to see you here on the dais, and we look forward to serving with you. I think this is our last meeting of the year, so everybody, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we look forward to seeing you guys soon in 2021. And with that, I would like to bang my coffee cup on the table and say goodbye and adjourn the regular meeting. So thanks, everyone. And again, congratulations, guys. We're really glad you're here and really stoked, and look forward to serving with you in 2021, or what I call year zero. So anyway,